There is a country in the center of Europe that touches more borders than any other nation on the continent. Where more than 20,000 castles still stand, some perfectly preserved, some crumbling quietly into the forest. Where a highway system stretches over 13,000 kilometers. And on nearly 2/3 of it, there is no speed limit at all. And where every autumn 7.5 million liters of beer disappear in a single festival. This is a nation built on contradiction. Ruthless engineering precision on one hand. Fairy tale romanticism on the other. A country that gave the world the assembly line. And also gave the world the Christmas tree. The Brothers Grimm. And the castle that inspired Cinderella's. "16 federal states, each one a guardian of its own dialect, its own traditions, its own identity. Landscapes that shift from wind-swept northern coastline to jagged alpine peaks in the space of a single day's drive, and 55 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, third in the entire world, behind only Italy and China. This is Germany, land of thinkers and poets, land of ancient forests and medieval spires. Welcome to the beating heart of Europe. Before we set foot in a single city, let's look at the numbers that make this country genuinely hard to believe. Germany sits at the crossroads of the continent, and it shows. About 1/3 of the entire country is still cloaked in forest. The same shadowy stretches of oak and beech that gave the Brothers Grimm their fairy tales centuries ago. Then there are the castles, over 20,000 of them scattered across the countryside, each one carrying its own fragment of a story. Kings, sieges, revolutions, or all three. The most famous, Neuschwanstein, alone, draws roughly 1.4 million visitors a year. Germany didn't just inherit its traditions, it invented several of them. The Christmas tree, as we know it today, was born here, and the very first documented Christmas markets took shape in Dresden and Nuremberg. The Christkindlesmarkt in Nuremberg still draws close to 2 million visitors every winter, turning entire city squares into arenas of candlelight and mulled wine. And then, of course, there's the beer. During Oktoberfest in Munich, more than 7.5 million liters are consumed in a matter of days, a tradition made possible by the roughly 95 million hectoliters brewed annually across hundreds of breweries nationwide. Food runs just as deep as drink. Germany is home to more than 1,500 distinct types of sausage, from the humble bratwurst to the beloved currywurst, with every region defending its own recipe like a state secret. Bread tells a similar story. Nearly 47,000 bakeries, the highest concentration in Europe, turning out over 300 types of bread and 1,200 varieties of pastry every single day. Music runs through the country's identity too. More than 130 professional symphony orchestras call Germany home, led by the legendary Berlin Philharmonic, founded back in 1882. Nearly every major city guards its own orchestra like a civic treasure. And for anyone chasing an education without the burden of debt, Germany's public universities charge no tuition, not even for international students, drawing in nearly 3 million students from around the globe. "16 states, 55 UNESCO sites, 20,000 castles. Now that we know the scale of it, let's go see it for ourselves." Berlin. The German capital unfolds across wide avenues, restless rivers, and neighborhoods that never stop reinventing themselves. The Brandenburg Gate marks the meeting point between imperial history and something far more recent, the years when a wall split the city in two. Fragments of that border still survive, now layered with murals about freedom and memory. Not far away, the East Side Gallery turns an entire stretch of the old wall into an open-air canvas. The Reichstag's glass dome, symbol of political transparency, offers sweeping views over a city that refuses to stay still. On Museum Island, 5 museums hold artifacts that have crossed millennia. From ancient Mesopotamia to the tombs of Egypt. And when night falls, Berlin's nightlife takes over entirely. Some clubs here barely close at all. Munich. At the foot of the Alps, Munich balances centuries of tradition against a genuinely modern pulse. Marienplatz sits at the center of it all, watched over by the neo-Gothic Neues Rathaus and its famous Glockenspiel, which reenacts scenes of Bavarian history in miniature every single day. Historic beer halls guard old rituals. The Englischer Garten offers a green escape larger than New York's Central Park. The Residenz reveals the wealth of a royal court that shaped Bavaria for centuries. While just outside the Old Town, the Olympic Park, built for the 1972 Games, points firmly toward the future. The Rhine Valley. For millennia, the Rhine has cut its way through German territory, and along its banks, castles rise out of the morning mist as if summoned from legend. Marksburg has stood intact since 1117, the only fortress on the entire river that has never once been destroyed. Nearby, the Loreley Rock juts more than 130 meters above the water at the river's narrowest point, the subject of German legend for generations. In the middle of the river itself sits Pfalzgrafenstein Castle, once a toll station for passing ships. September turns the whole valley gold as the terraced vineyards on the surrounding hills change color and river cruisers drift lazily between villages. Cologne lives around its Gothic cathedral, its twin spires visible from nearly every corner of the city. Inside, stained glass and medieval relics have drawn pilgrims for centuries. But the city's real soul is found along the riverbank, in the bars serving Kölsch, the local beer, and a point of genuine local pride. Once a year, Cologne Carnival takes the whole thing several steps further, turning the streets into an open-air stage of color, music, and movement. Neuschwanstein Castle. Hidden in the Bavarian mountains, Neuschwanstein rises from a rocky spur above forests and alpine lakes. Commissioned by King Ludwig II as a personal refuge, it was built almost as a tribute to Germanic legend. Soaring towers, white walls, frescoed halls telling stories of Norse myth. The castle was never actually finished. It became one of the most visited places in the country anyway. From the nearby Marienbrücke Bridge, the view is the one you've seen 1,000 times without knowing its name. And it's said to have inspired Disneyland's Sleeping Beauty Castle. Hamburg, Germany's great port city, grows outward from the Elbe River and its network of canals. The Speicherstadt, a historic red brick warehouse district, still carries the memory of colonial-era trade. Rising above it, the glass curves of the Elbe Philharmonie mark the city's modern ambitions, home to one of the best-sounding concert halls in the world. By night, the Reeperbahn takes over entirely, and Hamburg's nightlife shows no sign of slowing down before dawn. The Black Forest deep, misty, and genuinely a little mysterious. The Black Forest is the landscape that inspired the Brothers Grimm, and it still feels that way. Hiking trails wind through waterfalls and gorges, past Lake Titisee, one of the region's most photographed spots. Traditional villages here still make the cuckoo clocks that made this region famous worldwide. At the heart of it all sits Freiburg, known for its mild climate, its towering Gothic cathedral, and, of course, the cake this region gave its name to. Black Forest cake, chocolate and cherries and cream, exactly the way it should be. Frankfurt skyscrapers rise against the sky here in a way that feels almost out of place for Germany. Frankfurt is the financial heart of Europe, home to the European Central Bank. But just steps from the glass towers, the Rothenburg Square preserves its half-timbered buildings and centuries-old town hall, untouched by the modern skyline looming over it. Along the main river, museums cluster into a genuine cultural district, and the Palmengarten offers a quiet botanical escape. This is also Goethe's birthplace, his childhood home, now preserved as a museum for literature lovers making the pilgrimage. The Bavarian Alps. Along the border with Austria, glacial lakes and silent valleys stretch beneath the Zugspitze, Germany's highest peak, with views that reach well past the country's own borders. Alpine towns preserve their wooden chalets and seasonal rhythms, ski slopes in winter around Garmisch-Partenkirchen, hiking trails and mountain refuges in summer. Scattered among the valleys, old monasteries and castles hint at a past built on devotion and local power, while lakes like the Eibsee mirror the snow-capped peaks above them. Dresden, known as the Florence of the Elbe, Dresden was nearly leveled during the Second World War and rebuilt, piece by piece, into one of the country's most striking cultural centers. The Frauenkirche, reconstructed after the bombings, now dominates the main square once again. Nearby, the Baroque Zwinger holds art collections recognized around the world. Cruise the Elbe at sunset, and the whole skyline seems to glow gold. In December, Dresden's Christmas markets, among the very first in the world, bring the same magic that started centuries ago. Stuttgart. Surrounded by hills and vineyards, Stuttgart sits in a valley cut by the Neckar River and serves as the undisputed heart of German automotive engineering. The Mercedes-Benz and Porsche museums trace the evolution of some of the most iconic cars ever built. But there's more here than horsepower. Baroque palaces and green spaces like Rosenstein Park round out the city, and in one of its more curious details, vineyards climb almost right up to the city streets. Each year, the Volksfest, Germany's second-largest beer festival after Oktoberfest, takes the whole city over, with rides, music, and, naturally, beer. the Harz Mountains, wild, forested, and steeped in legend. The Harz Mountains sit at the geographic heart of Germany. The peaks here are wrapped in old folklore, stories of witches, and ancient rites that still surface every Walpurgis night, when locals dress as witches and demons and take to the trails. Towns like Goslar and Wernigerode preserve their half-timbered houses and paved squares almost untouched by time. While hiking trails wind past waterfalls and old mining lakes that once powered the region's economy. Düsseldorf, an economic and creative crossroads on the Rhine. Düsseldorf's Königsallee ranks among the most elegant shopping streets in the country. But step into the Altstadt district and the mood shifts entirely. The highest concentration of bars and breweries anywhere in the world. Over 300 of them, all serving the region's distinctive dark beer. Contemporary art thrives here too, with galleries like K20 and K21 showcasing internationally renowned names, proof this city runs on more than just fashion. Nuremberg, Franconia's great city, carries a complicated, layered history. Its imperial castle still dominates the skyline, a reminder of Nuremberg's role at the center of the Holy Roman Empire for centuries. The Nuremberg Trials Memorial offers a far more recent, far more sobering chapter. Every winter, the Christkindlesmarkt, the oldest Christmas market in the world, fills the old town with the smell of gingerbread and roasted sausage, drawing visitors from every corner of the globe. Rhineland-Palatinate and the Moselle. Where the Rhine meets the Moselle, vineyards climb impossibly steep hillsides to produce some of Europe's finest Riesling. Castles rise above nearly every bend in the river. Elt's Castle, hidden in dense forest, seems suspended entirely outside of time. Villages like Cochem and Bacharach line the water below. Their half-timbered houses and quiet wine cellars, proof that this region has one of the highest concentrations of castles anywhere in Europe. Heidelberg. On the banks of the Neckar, Heidelberg's half-ruined castle looks down over a town shaped almost entirely by its university. The oldest in Germany, welcoming students since 1386. Cobblestone streets, old bookstores, and the Philosopher's Walk, a trail once favored by poets chasing inspiration, round out one of the most romantic towns in the country. Don't leave without trying the Heidelberger Studentenkuss, a chocolate first created as a discreet gift between love-struck students. Leipzig music runs through Leipzig's history in a way few other cities can claim. Johann Sebastian Bach worked here as choir master at the Thomaskirche, which still houses one of the most celebrated choirs in the world. The market square, framed by its Renaissance town hall, guards centuries of commercial and cultural history. Old factories, now reborn as creative neighborhoods, prove Leipzig is just as focused on its future as its past. Saxon Switzerland, southeast of Dresden, along the Czech border, sandstone formations rise into rock towers and deep gorges, unlike anything else in Germany. The Bastei Bridge, suspended between stone pinnacles, offers one of the most striking views over the entire Elbe Valley. And the surrounding cliffs shelter rare species like the golden eagle and peregrine falcon. Medieval fortresses like Königstein still watch over this strange, beautiful landscape from above. Bremen, this small Hanseatic city-state, built its fortune on maritime trade along the Weser River, and it still wears that legacy proudly. The market square, framed by its Gothic Renaissance town hall, holds the statue of Roland, a symbol of civic freedom since the Middle Ages. Bremen is forever tied to the Brothers Grimm's tale of the town musicians, immortalized in one of the city's most photographed statues. Wander into the Schnur district for narrow lanes and colorful houses that once belonged to fishermen and craftsmen. Freudenberg, a single neighborhood built to a strict architectural pattern, creates one of the most striking visuals in the country. Rows of white houses with black timber beams, each one similar, none of them identical. A flower box here, an aged door there. It's a village where uniformity somehow becomes its own form of art. Rothenburg ob der Tauber. Step through the medieval walls and time genuinely seems to stop. Half-timbered houses line paved squares beneath sloping roofs and wrought iron signs. Walk the town's sentry walk at dusk, and the ochre and red facades glow under low light. One of the most photographed towns in all of Germany, and it's easy to see why. Quedlinburg. At the foot of the Harz Mountains, more than 1,000 half-timbered houses spread across a maze of alleyways, each one telling a fragment of the town's long history. Above it all, a Romanesque collegiate church watches from a rocky outcrop, its cloister silent even at midday. Bacharach, built by merchants who forced passing ships to stop and pay toll, Bacharach still guards over 1,000 years of history along the Rhine. Starleck Castle, a 12th century fortress turned youth hostel, offers one of the most spectacular views in the entire valley. The vineyards below are so steep, winemakers still anchor themselves with ropes at harvest time. Goslar dark timber and slate-covered buildings reflect in Goslar's wet cobblestone streets, a fitting backdrop for a town that once hosted the assemblies of the Holy Roman Empire. The Imperial Palace still holds its medieval frescoes, while breweries and cafes fill the compact streets below. Monschau tucked into the Eifel Valley. Monschau's maze of paved alleys winds past white, half-timbered houses squeezed close together along the Ruhr River. Stone bridges connect both banks, and above it all, an old fortress looks out over a sea of slate rooftops. Kochum, along a bend in the Moselle, an imperial castle watches over terraced vineyards that descend right to the water's edge. The half-timbered houses here wear color proudly, and the local taverns pour some of the best Riesling the region has to offer. Bernkastel-Kues, split across both banks of the Moselle, this town holds two distinct personalities: a tightly packed medieval center on one side, quieter residential streets on the other. Above both, vineyards climb toward the ruins of Landshut Castle, watching over the river below. Wernigerode, at the edge of the Harz forest, Wernigerode's houses look almost hand-painted, one by one. Its ornate town hall anchors the town's center, while a castle with ivy-covered walls looks down from above. An old steam railway still departs from here, climbing toward the Brocken, the highest peak in the region. Baden-Baden. Framed by the hills of the Black Forest, Baden-Baden trades castles for elegance. Neoclassical buildings, manicured gardens, and thermal baths that have drawn travelers for centuries. The Kurhaus hosts concerts and games beneath its grand facade, while quiet fountains and flower beds define a town built for slowing down. From walled medieval towns to alpine peaks that touch the clouds, from castles built for kings to bakeries that have fed the same streets for generations. Germany doesn't just show you its history, it hands it to you, still standing. We hope this journey has given you a new way to see this country, not just as a destination, but as a living, layered story that's still being written. If you enjoyed this journey with us, subscribe and join us next time as we uncover another extraordinary corner of the world.